February 4th, 1947. Harlem shivers under a bitter winter sky, the wind slicing through cracked streets and worn-out buildings. Snow mixes with dirt. Kids huddle in doorways, mothers clutch thin coats tighter, and men watch the streets with tired, wary eyes. This is a neighborhood fighting every single day to survive. A place where fear and respect walk side by side. Whispers of power echo through corners, and one name controls that fear like a king on a frozen throne. Bumpy Johnson. A sleek black Cadillac rolls slowly through Harlem, its polished body cutting through poverty like a blade through silence. Windows frost. People step aside. Conversations die mid-sentence because everyone knows who rides inside. Bumpy sits in the back seat, calm, confident, untouchable, the weight of Harlem's underground world resting effortlessly on his shoulders. This is his kingdom, his rules. And on this cold day, fate is about to challenge everything he stands for. Out of nowhere, the Cadillac slows as the driver's eyes widen, because right in the middle of the icy street stands an elderly woman, barely stable on her trembling legs. Her clothes are thin, more suited for summer than this brutal winter. Her skin pale from cold, her hands shaking not just from temperature but from fear and exhaustion. A dark bruise marks her cheek, telling a silent story of hardship, struggle, and perhaps violence she never deserved. The driver stiffens, instinct screaming danger, because no one blocks Bumpy Johnson's path without a hidden reason. The bodyguard's hand moves to his coat, ready, alert, convinced this could be a trap. Harlem streets never offer kindness without a cost. But Bumpy raises his hand, stopping his men, his sharp eyes studying the woman, not with fear but curiosity. Instead of ordering the car to move, instead of ignoring her like so many would, he decides to engage. Something in her trembling stance demands attention. The door opens, the cold rushes inside, and Bumpy steps out, the entire street watching in breathless silence. The woman lifts her head, tears glistening but refusing to fall, her voice fragile, yet carrying the weight of a mother, a survivor, a fighter. She doesn't beg for money, doesn't ask for favors, doesn't plead for miracles. She asks for something painfully simple. Bread, not luxury, not riches, just food, enough to keep her grandchildren from starving another night. Her words cut through the icy air and into the toughest hearts nearby, exposing a raw truth of Harlem life that no power can erase. For a moment, we see the contrast stand face to face, towering power versus fragile desperation, feared king versus forgotten grandmother. Bumpy studies her closely, and for the first time, that iron exterior softens, because behind all the crime, power, and reputation, he recognizes something painfully real, suffering he cannot ignore. And in that silent moment, Harlem witnesses something rare, the beginning of empathy inside a man the world believed had none. Bumpy drapes his heavy coat around her shoulders. The warmth hits her like a wave, and years of held-in strength suddenly collapse into trembling sobs. Inside the Cadillac, the cold world outside fades as heat fills the space, and for the first time in days, she feels something close to safety. Through shaking breaths, she introduces herself. Elizabeth Carter, 72 years old, a lifetime of survival etched into every wrinkle on her face. She explains the cruel reality of her life. No pension, no steady help, somehow forced to survive on barely $3 a month. The city she once worked for, lived in, trusted, has forgotten her, leaving her in an apartment with no heat, no light, no hope. For 3 long days, she and the children she cares for have gone without food, listening to empty stomachs cry through the night. As she speaks, the weight of her truth fills the car, crushing, heartbreaking, undeniable, and Bumpy listens silently, not as a feared gangster, but as a man. Then his eyes catch it again. That dark bruise on her face, a mark that doesn't belong on someone so fragile. His voice softens but sharpens with purpose, first gentle, then more direct, forcing the truth she's hesitant to reveal. Slowly, painfully, she breaks, and the hidden story spills out. Her son, Edward, once a boy she loved, now lost to alcohol and the streets. He came to her door at 3 in the morning, not as a son seeking comfort, but as a desperate, violent stranger. He was drunk, angry, broken, and in that rage, he struck the very woman who once carried him, protected him, believed in him. Then, without shame, he stole her last dollar, leaving her bleeding, terrified, and with absolutely nothing left. Shame fills her voice. Heartbreak floods her eyes, because despite everything, she still loves her son, and that love hurts more than the bruise ever could. Bumpy's jaw tightens, anger rising not for himself, but for the violation of something sacred, respect for elders, the backbone of Harlem's soul. He feels the weight of failure, not just from a broken son, but from a society that left a 72-year-old woman fighting alone to survive. This isn't just crime or poverty. It's dignity stolen, humanity ignored, and Bumpy refuses to let that stand. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a thick roll of cash, and calmly places $100 in Elizabeth's trembling hands. His voice becomes firm, commanding, yet strangely gentle. Restore your power, pay your rent, fill your cupboards with food, buy warm clothes for yourself and those children. But then he makes one thing absolutely clear. Not a single penny goes to Edward, not one chance for him to destroy what little she has left. In that moment, Bumpy Johnson isn't just Harlem's feared ruler. He becomes its unexpected guardian, choosing compassion as power. But Elizabeth's fear doesn't fade. Her heart trembles with another worry. Retaliation, revenge, blood spilled because of her confession. Her voice cracks as she pleads, "Don't hurt my son. Don't take his life. Even after everything, he is still my child." Bumpy meets her eyes, and with surprising calm, he reassures her, "I won't kill him. I won't destroy him, but I will teach him respect." He speaks with a tone that blends mercy and authority, setting a boundary not even Edward will dare cross again. Then he calls his men. Arrangements are made immediately. Elizabeth will not walk alone anymore. Protection surrounds her now. He orders his men to escort her home, restore safety around her building, and make sure she is never touched, threatened, or left helpless again. In that quiet yet powerful exchange, Bumpy establishes something deeper than fear. He establishes moral authority, a reminder that even in the darkest world, humanity can still exist. Bumpy steps back into the cold Harlem streets. But this time the air feels different, heavier, charged with purpose and silent fury. His bodyguard walks beside him, saying nothing, because words aren't needed when Bumpy Johnson has decided something. Their footsteps echo through frozen pavement, slow, controlled, dangerous, and every corner they pass seems to fall into silence. People sense it instantly. Harlem always knows when a storm is coming, and tonight, the storm walks on two legs wearing an overcoat. Shadows watch from windows. Whispers spread ahead of him. No one dares stand in his path, because whatever is about to happen, it isn't small. This isn't recklessness. It's justice in motion, powered not by rage, but by cold determination, the kind that makes even criminals uneasy. They arrive behind a rundown liquor store, a filthy alley choking with garbage, broken bottles, and forgotten lives. Dim lights flicker weakly, rats scatter, and the stench of alcohol and hopelessness hangs in the air like a curse. A few drunks linger in corners, eyes widening when they recognize who just stepped into their darkness. Fear spreads instantly. No one wants trouble with Bumpy Johnson, especially here, in a place where secrets rot quietly. Then they spot him, Edward, slumped against a wall, bottle in hand, lost in a drunk haze so deep he barely understands he's breathing. He blinks slowly, confused at first, laughing foolishly, unaware of the danger standing just feet away. But as recognition finally crawls through his fogged mind, the laughter fades, and the cold reality of who has come for him begins to sink in. Bumpy's hands close around Edward's shoulders, lifting him effortlessly off the grimy alley floor. Every ounce of dominance clear. Edward struggles, sputters, but the strength in Bumpy's grip is not just physical, it's authority, reputation, and a lifetime of feared respect. Passers-by stop, frozen, This is more than a confrontation. It's a lesson, a public reckoning, the air thick with tension. Bumpy's voice cuts through the cold night, precise, controlled, recounting every betrayal, every drunken assault, every theft, each word landing like a hammer. Edward opens his mouth, tries to excuse, to laugh it off, to shrug, but the sound dies in the icy alley. He can't escape the truth now. Then Bumpy strikes, a single sharp blow, not in rage, but in teaching, in making sure Edward feels the weight of his actions. Silence follows. The world seems to hold its breath. Power has shifted completely. Edward, once dominant in his drunken chaos, is now utterly small. Bumpy steps closer, eyes cold, voice even colder. Respect your mother. Never touch her again. Never ask her for money. This is your final chance. The threat isn't shouted. It doesn't need to be. It's controlled. Terrifying. Moral authority in human form. Edward's knees weaken. Tears sting. Shame and fear flooding him at once. He is broken, stripped of the arrogance and cruelty that defined him. Bumpy releases him slowly, letting him feel the consequences fully. The lesson engraved in both body and soul. The alley exhales with them. Witnesses whisper quietly. Harlem knows justice has been served, and mercy, in its own hard, uncompromising way. The Cadillac glides slowly through Harlem's icy streets. City lights glint off the wet pavement, snow beginning to fall lightly. Bumpy sits back, coat still warm from Elizabeth's hands, eyes distant, mind racing, weighing his world, weighing choices, weighing consequences. He is a paradox, feared gangster, yet protector of the powerless, ruthless enforcer, yet gentle hand for the suffering. Harlem has molded him. Harsh streets, endless struggle, a world that abandons its own. Elizabeth's trembling hands, her quiet dignity, her survival against impossible odds. She embodies the forgotten, the elderly crushed by poverty, by neglect, by a society that has turned its back. Edward, sobbing in the alley, a son lost to addiction, violence and circumstance. A portrait of broken dreams, of cycles repeated, of racial and social injustice unaddressed. Bumpy's intervention is brutal, yet precise, justice tempered with mercy. An acknowledgement that sometimes the world offers no help, only consequences. Harlem watches quietly. Whispers of respect ripple through the streets. The message is clear. Survival demands strength, respect demands authority and compassion, even in the harshest forms. Matters. In this night's cold glow, Bumpy is more than a man. He is a symbol, harsh justice born from a broken environment. A reminder that sometimes to protect the innocent, one must embrace the darkness. The city exhales, and life, fragile and unyielding, continues, leaving lessons etched into hearts, stories whispered on the wind, and justice, however unconventional, quietly done. The camera pans over Harlem's snow-dusted streets. The Cadillac disappears into the night, silence broken only by distant footsteps and the muffled hum of the city. Elizabeth enters her small apartment. Warmth from the restored heater washes over her. She unwraps the coat Bumpy gave her. For the first time in days, she can breathe. Dignity restored. Small comfort, but enough to survive another day. Edward stumbles away, bruised, shaken, humiliated, yet alive. A chance to change flickers somewhere deep inside him. Fear and respect mingle. Lessons learned the hard way. The audience is left in that grey space. Admiration for Bumpy's uncompromising code, discomfort at the violent methods, reflection on a society that fails the most vulnerable. The frame fades to black, the snow continues to fall, leaving Harlem frozen in both hardship and resilience. This ending leaves the story emotionally charged, morally complex, and lingering in the minds of viewers, challenging them to question justice, compassion, and responsibility.